Mario. Mario never changes. But don't worry, that's actually a good thing. 1999. That was fun. Hi, this is Brooks with Character Design Forge, shooting in a new office space that I'll show you guys more of soon. Welcome to the Character Design Spotlight for Mario, Super Mario. If you haven't played a Mario game yet, I'm not sure how you pulled that off. And it's funny that Mario has become almost synonymous with gaming, given that Donkey Kong and Mario weren't the first games, and there were so many chances over the years for these series to drop off in quality, which it hasn't. I know in my Splatoon character design spotlight, I gave you guys a bit of a history on the game and its characters. However, here, I'm not going to regale you with a complete recounting of all things Mario that have been said countless times before. Instead, what I want to do is look at why Mario's design works so well and why it makes so much sense for Nintendo to put so much stock in him. Now, from a character design standpoint, Mario, who is easily one of the most famous game characters of all time, shares a lot in common with Mickey Mouse, who is easily the most famous cartoon character of all time, and that's probably not an accident. At the beginning, I said that Mario never changes, and of course Mario changes, but his design stays relatively untouched. There was that one time where he got a tribal tattoo, and that was just a 100% win. That's never gone wrong for anyone ever before. From the 8-bit era all the way up to Mario Odyssey, Mario's always had his cap and mustache, and most of the time he's also got those overalls, the brown shoes, and white gloves. Let's take a look at Mario's shape language, which are the overall shapes that a character designer uses to communicate something about a character. And let's take Mario and stack him up next to Mickey Mouse for comparison. What's most significant is that both characters are primarily made up of two spheres that are stacked on top of each other, one for the head and one for the body. With shape language, designers use round shapes because we want you to like us, or the designs at least. Round shapes have what's called appeal. They're non-threatening. They're most commonly associated in human beings with defenseless babies and motherhood, and they seem to have potential, a yet unrealized trait of some value. Now, within the design are several more round shapes, all filled in with primary colors, red, yellow, and in Mario's case, blue. Both characters have white gloves. Back in the days of black and white traditional animation, when a character wore white gloves, it helped so that if that hand intersected over the body, you could still read what the hand was doing instead of it getting lost in a sea of black. Arguably, I would say that the yellow buttons on Mario's overalls and on Mickey's shorts are probably another means of clarity. For Mario, it helps you to understand which way the body is facing without needing to see where his face or head is. Both of these designs are simple. You could represent them with a few graphic symbols, and they'd still be recognizable even if a child tried to draw them. Another notable similarity between these two characters is that they are classically designed characters. Now, this is something that I have talked about extensively in the past, but there is a big difference between a modern and classic take on a character. A modern design will attempt to include what's trendy and current. A modern designed character's appeal comes from it trying to fit in. A classic design, on the other hand, has no interest in fitting in with a certain era or fashion. Instead, its only interest is in standing out, using good shape language, clarity, and timelessness. Now, what ends up happening is that a classically designed character like Mario only receives graphical changes over the years. As technology in games improves, they start to look nicer, but that essential design remains the same. Now, on the other hand, a modern designed character, like say one that was designed specifically to compete with a certain classically designed character, we'll talk about him more in November. Let's wait till November for him. A modern designed character that's meant to fit into 1991 tends to stay in 1991. Now, in order for the character to stay relevant over the years, they then need to be redesigned. When people look at clothing design and fashion in the 80s and they say, what were we thinking? Those designs needed to change and distance themselves from that era and instead adapt to people's current trend of taste. And that's the same thing that happens with modern characters too. So what happens when a stalwart, classic design remains unchanged while a modern character keeps going through iterations? Well, this classic design becomes inherently stronger. It's more recognizable. The Mario that I knew at age 8 is going to be roughly the same as someone who is 10 years younger than me knowing Mario at age 8. So when a new Mario game comes out, older fans aren't going, Mario's really changed. They're going, oh hey, it's my old pal Mario. And what Nintendo doesn't have to do in that case is create a second version of Mario in the same timeline in order to appeal to multiple people at once. Anyway, we'll get to that in November. One thing at a time right now. Which brings me to Nintendo. Why bank on him so heavily in the first place? Never mind his origins, why is Mario still the flagship mascot for Nintendo? Why is it done so well? Well, I have a pretty good theory. Nintendo games, if you haven't noticed, are bonkers. The settings of these games are absolutely bonkers. There's a space lady hunting tooth jellyfish, an elf boy in Elf Boy Land, a piece of gum who swallows everyone, a squid now who is a kid now, a astronaut who's tinier than a Duracell battery who plucks plant aliens out of the ground and commands them like an army. Nintendo's not shy about being out there, and we love them for it. Usually from a gameplay mechanic standpoint, Nintendo won't start developing a new game until they know that they have a new mechanic or a new spin on things that they can develop from. Again, that goes back to gameplay first with them. Usually you won't have a new Nintendo game that just advances the story as a sequel to the original game. Especially Mario games are wildly different from one to the next. The way that you play them is constantly being changed and enhanced, yet Mario, his design, still remains largely unchanged. See, Mario works as Nintendo's mascot for the same reason that audiences as a whole can come to accept and love two aliens, a talking tree, and a raccoon, other than those characters just being well developed on their own. It's the fact that there's an added human surrogate which you can tie down the outrageous and uncertain things to. And you might say, well, I didn't need a normal human to relate things to in order to get excited. I was already excited for the talking tree and the raccoon, and that's totally fine. I was too. It's probably because we are a little more on the, I guess, lack of a better word, geeky spectrum of things, but for that element of mass appeal for general audiences, it's really helpful to have this human thing, something that they are familiar with, in order to bridge them into things that are unfamiliar. And that's why I think Mario is a little bit normal. He's, dare I say, basic. He's dressed like contractors and workmen who are familiar to people in most areas of the world where at least these games are being sold. He is a recognizable face who will take you by the hand and say, hey, it's okay. That was awful. Mario is short, pudgy, and non-threatening looking. He has all of the proportions and whimsy of a child, but you don't let a child work on your house as a contractor. See, I think that Mario originally had a mustache because it was an extra little pixel in an 8-bit sprite that didn't have pixels to spare. But I think they've retained the mustache because it's the quickest indicator that Mario is a grown-up. As Nintendo stays strange, and may they always stay strange, as they keep shaking up and changing the way that their games are played, changing the way that Mario games are played, Mario stays as an anchor. He's an unwavering constant. And the thing is that other game studios struggle to introduce new IPs and original, holistically new ideas because the audience is unsure about them. But what Nintendo does is they take Mario, who's an old face, and they slap it on new ideas. If Mario is doing a new thing, it's going to be okay. As they venture off into new territories, Mario is an adult that we can trust. Whew. I get excited about that stuff. That's it for me today. I'm making new videos every week at Character Design Forge. Subscribing on YouTube lets you know when new videos are made available. And hey, why don't you head over to twitch.tv/BagelDenizen. It may not look like much right now as of the posting of this video, but part of the reason for this new office and stuff is I'm actually trying to get into some more regular streaming during the week. So I'm going to be doing things like drawing comics live for you guys to watch, drawing some character designs and stuff, and then I'm thinking that after, a few hours of working, I'll take a break, do a little bit of this stuff. My course, Learn Character Design, is a comprehensive character design curriculum. You can head over to learncharacterdesign.com to learn more about that. It's over 10 hours of video learning. And if you'd like to support me, support the channel, you'd like to see more of this kind of stuff, you can go to patreon.com/BagelDenizen and support me there. In return, you get a lot of cool stuff. You get early access to new episodes of our show Character Select. You get high-res downloadable versions of my art files. You see stuff there before I post it anywhere else. And stuff like lesson booster packs, and you can see what that is over there. You guys probably have a lot to say about Mario yourself, probably some other ideas and theories on why Mario works so well. There's a few things that I was considering that I kind of just cut from this video for the sake of simplicity, but I'd love to hear you kind of sound off in the comments under this video. Thank you so much for watching, and have fun creating.